Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Carrie Luderin. I'm a professional organizer and interior designer. My company is called Pretty Neat, and I'm really excited today. I'm here joined with Cady Henry, and she is a childcare expert. And I'm excited for this conversation because I work with a lot of parents and I deal with a lot of kids' clutter. But to be perfectly honest, I am not an expert on kids at all. I don't have my own. I don't have a ton of experience with children. So Cady and I are going to bring both areas of expertise to this conversation. So hello, Cady. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Cady Henry. I work in the field of childcare. I was a nanny for 10 years. Then I had my son, and I opened up an in-home space running a daycare, and that was open for just a couple of months before closing due to COVID.
Right.
And I also have on Instagram and Facebook, I try to create just kind of like a community of support and insight for parents, from parents to nannies, so like the caregiving spectrum of people. So I'm excited about this too, because I feel like I love having these conversations, and it's exciting to have like an outlet and someone to talk about them with.
Right. It's kind of nice to be able to talk to people in general right now because it's such a rare occurrence. So I'm hoping that people will get some value out of this conversation. And you do share a lot of great content on your social channels, and we'll be posting this on Facebook, but we can link to our other channels and things under the video. So so today we're going to talk about organizing kids' toys.
Yes.
And I know I work with a lot of clients who have kids of all various ages. And I think this is like the number one issue of clutter in homes that have children, right? Yeah. There's always
they're everywhere.
Those specific spaces, or maybe like you say, it's everywhere, where it's just like an explosion of stuff, right? And I think that's just life for parents. And at certain times when it's playtime or whatever, it's gonna look crazy sometimes. And we should be very realistic about that. We're not going to suggest that everything be always put away.
No.
But at the same time, there are going to be occasions where you want to put things away, or you maybe want some type of a daily routine where there's, things get set aside and put away, and you can kind of have a little bit of visual peace in your home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, so we want to talk today about how to kind of keep that toy clutter, manageable, so that when you do want to have a clear space, a little bit of peace, maybe in the evenings when the kids go to bed, it's not always just like chaos, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Frees up your mind a little bit.
Definitely. So I know when I work with people just organizing stuff in general, I find that usually the issue is not so much about disorganization or the lack of systems, although that can sometimes be it. But often it's that there's just too much stuff, right? The volume is so great that it's more than will reasonably fit in storage spaces, or it's just more than is reasonable to manage, right? Like it's too many things. So do you find that this is the case with kids' toys, and how do you navigate that?
I find that it accumulates over the years for so many. I mean, birthdays and Christmases and special occasions, or just going out to the store, and before you know it, you have this it's like you're saying, there's this explosive toy room that almost is like inaccessible for children because they walk in and it's just there's just a lot in it. And the more, kids are very visual, so the more they see, the more overstimulated they are, and the less they know what to do with and to play with. It overwhelms them. It overwhelms their senses. And I see it time and again. I think, like you were saying, everybody has the best intentions. It's not that we're trying, by providing all these toys, you want, for learning and exploration and all the developmental experiences. But often what happens is we get too much. I mean, my son's 6 months old, and we've already had to kind of stop, me personally and family members, stop with the stuff because it's overwhelming. There's only so much you're going to play with in a day.
Right. And especially at his age, like,
Oh yeah.
it seems like, he's going to be somewhat limited there. But yeah, I think that's a great point to make about the overstimulation. And I don't have any statistics off the top of my head, but I know that the average American household has a large number of toys, and that kids are reasonably only playing with a small percentage of those on a regular basis.
Yeah, they just don't have the capacity to play with much more than like maybe their 3 to 5 favorite toys in a given day.
That's a very small number.
Yeah, compared to like what you'll see. And
yeah.
you
If you
know,
have like 20 to 50 items sitting
they're
around.
not playing with all of them. And then what happens is like then we feel bad because they have all these toys in different places that are not getting played with, and they're not being engaged with, and then you feel bad because they're just kind of sitting and collecting dust, and then you kind of resent the fact that you have all these toys that your kids aren't using.
Right. Yeah. So sometimes I offer this advice with various things, like with people's clothing or with hobby supplies and stuff, that instead of having the entire collection out and available, that you maybe create like a curated selection of things that are accessible. And I could see that maybe this could be an approach that parents could take. Do you think that would work?
Absolutely. The way we have, for example, the way we have our living room set up, that's our main like hub where most of the play takes place and most of our life takes place. And I have a very curated area for Emmett to access for his toys. He also has like a shallow bin of smaller pieces that go in the bin. I can like quickly get out. I put him down the floor with the bin, and he can like play with them and grab the stuff out. It also makes cleanup easier because there's just fewer things that I have to worry about picking up. When I do, I stick everything right in the bin. It goes on the shelf. And then there's other toys that are just open and easily accessible for him. And I think there's like 3 toys on the shelf and then like a stack of board books. And what I'll do is I'll just rotate through those toys on the shelf. And then the same with the bin. We have these bins throughout the house. So there's one in his room. There's one for our outside play. It's just easy to pick it up. Everything goes in it. And it's easy for him to kind of navigate and explore. And then I just did this morning, actually. I just rotated some of the toys that we have kind of put away in the toy chest and or that are upstairs. We'll switch them upstairs and downstairs. So that kind of, it keeps up the novelty of toys too. Like you'll be surprised if you have a toy that your kid's not really playing with, it hasn't played with in a while, and you stick that toy away for a little bit and then you bring it back out, or you even stick it in a different environment, like you move it outside, they'll become engaged with it in a totally different way.
I love that idea, and that you can kind of create that newness factor again if it's just like out of sight for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think another great point that you make is about like making it easy for your kid. Like depending on their developmental age, you want to foster those behaviors of like picking up after yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they have like this giant collection of stuff, it's making it so hard for them.
Yeah.
And that maybe they're not just messy kids. Maybe they just have too much. It's impossible for them, right?
Yeah, it's overwhelming. I mean, I don't want to pick up after myself when you make like a huge mess.
Right.
You just look at it like, nah, it's too much. I mean, it's the same thing with kids, on a different scale. So, I embrace the messy play. I think that kids should totally make big messes in their playroom. That's how they play, is they're going to dump. They're going to be messy depending on their development and where they are in their age. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a habit I'm instilling now with myself for Emmett, is when we're done playing, I'll say like, okay, it's time to pick up. And he's not picking up toys, but like, at least he's watching me do it and put them away. And it's so that I too can remind myself to start that habit. So when he gets older, I'm not just doing it for him, and he can be part of that process. And yeah, if it's less toys and there are bins and places for things to go, it's easier for kids to know how to pick up and put things away.
Yeah, definitely. Like having a place for everything. So even if it's out, when it is time to put it away, where does it go? And always creating that habit of, here's the system. And again, I think just making it as easy as possible for your kids and for yourself, as you're saying. You don't want to pick up like 10,000 different little pieces of everything every day.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. So those are great points. Yeah, Jackie is here with us. I think I can show her comment. Thanks, Jackie, for joining us.
Hi, Jackie.
Yeah, so let me just get rid of that. Okay. So we're talking about sort of limiting the number of toys that are available for kids to play with. I think, when we talk about setting boundaries for ourselves or for our kids, we can create those kinds of rules and guidelines in our household. But I hear from a lot of people that the issue is not so much that they are buying their kids. You know where I'm going with this. The issue is not so much that I'm personally buying my kids so many things, but like we have certain family members that love to, just shower them with gifts. And, I hear this from a lot of people. So I know this can be a really delicate kind of situation. So how do you deal with that? How do you advise people when they have maybe a grandparent or aunt or uncle or somebody that's just like excessive?
Yeah. And I think that the best thing to remember is that like this comes from a place of love, like grandparents or that aunt or the friend, whoever it may be, like they're doing it because they love your kids. And this is how they're showing their affection, especially maybe if grandma doesn't and grandpa don't live close, like that's a way to connect with them and to give. So I think just remembering that it comes from, it is coming from a place of love. They just want to support and be there for your child. You have to have the hard conversation. And I know it's uncomfortable, it can be awkward, but knowing your own boundaries, like where your line is and where your non-negotiables are, and just being very direct and clear about it with your family members. I suggest, having that conversation over the phone or face to face if you can. I think a lot of times when we have these hard conversations over text, like the tone gets lost and you don't want to give them a hard time. You're not like reprimanding them. You don't want to yell at them or scold them. You just want to ask them to kind of, please, this is, these are our values and this is why we want fewer things in our home or etc. And then explaining that to them and saying, I know this is coming from a place of love and that you want to help out. And then maybe here are some other ways you can help out with gift giving. And you have to be I think just being direct and holding that line is the best thing that you can do.
That's great. So what you're talking about is doing some reflection on your own values and what you want your family values to be, and sort of defining those for yourself and for your family, and then being able to be really clear with people in your life about explaining that and hopefully getting them on board. And I think we got to be realistic here. Like some people are not, they're going to hear that and maybe shift behavior a little bit, but they might not completely. So in that case where you are getting stuff given to your kids that maybe is an excessive amount, or maybe it's like, things that, are going to be broken soon, or they're just not, part of, what you're looking to add to the household. What do you say to that?
You're the parent. It's your house. You have every right to say you can bring it in. And once you receive that gift, like it's yours to do with what you want. So if you choose to not give it to your child, or maybe you choose to save it for a later date when it's a special occasion or a celebration, and give it to them then, or you just decide, no, this is going to go to a family, maybe somebody else who has a kid, like they could use it, someone else could use it, a charity, donate it. But when it comes in your house, like it's been given to you, you have the right to say, no, we're not going to give it to our kids.
I think
that's hard. I get it.
It is hard. I kind of like, because as you say, these things are totally given in love. And it's not to be unappreciative.
No.
But I have similar advice just in terms of receiving gifts in general. Like once the gift has been received, it now belongs to you, and it's your decision to make now that, does this fit into my life? Does this fit into my kid's life? Does this fit into our value system? And making that decision. And I think just, if we can give people permission to let go of some of the guilt around gift giving, because I think that's what is really at the heart of grandma gave this to them and it's so nice of her, but there have to be limits, right?
There just has to be limits.
Mm-hmm.
And even it comes in the best intentions, but I mean, in the long run too, I think the big thing to try to say to families, we're doing this because of these values that we want to instill in our kids. We don't want to deprive them. It's not that, we don't want what you're specifically giving to us. It's just that we want to instill these certain values in our children and the way they look at their stuff.
Yeah, I think that's an important message. And I also think these kinds of conversations are often not, you're not going to say it once and then you never have to deal with it again. Right. These might be things that you need to bring up over and over again.
Yeah.
And, you might feel weird about that or like you're being a nag. But if it's important to you, and I think this is an important issue, I mean, we're talking about creating a home that's, a peaceful space and that your kids can easily navigate. Sometimes, we have to have these conversations, and sometimes you got to have them a few times
over. Yeah,
for it to like really get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, it's not like a one and done.
Right. We have a couple more comments. I just want to share them. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Jackie says, teach them young or you'll be picking up after them forever. Yeah, I think that is a good point. And then Stephanie is here with us too.
Hi, Stephanie.
She says, hi, ladies. I always incorporate my daughter into the cleanup process so she learns those helpful behaviors. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I imagine that's got to be a kind of a balancing act for parents because you want them to get involved, but sometimes
we want to like clean up and we're done.
It's probably a lot easier to just do it yourself, right?
Just having expectations around like their age and what they're capable of doing, and that like, if your child is younger, they might be picking up one or two things and then they're done. But just kind of modeling for them and being part of it so that they can see what goes into the process of cleaning up.
Yeah, I think that's good. We're all about being realistic and
you gotta be realistic about
ourselves. I think especially now, this is such a strange time that we're in. We haven't even broached that. It almost is starting to feel kind of normal. I don't know about for you, but
it is a little bit.
But I think this is extra challenging, and for anyone out there who's taking care of children during this time, you
got to give yourself some grace.
Hats off to you, because that is a different realm of responsibility.
Yes.
So I think this is all really important stuff. And I think that, we're really, if we dig a little deeper into this, and we've kind of been touching on this, we're really talking about values at the heart of it, right? And what are the lessons that you want to teach your kids about their relationship to material things?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. That's, that's what it comes down to. It's like thinking about, picking up your toys, like you're picking up your toys and you're putting your things away because you respect them and you hold them of value and you want to treat them well so that they last.
Absolutely. Right. And also I think the values about, having like this excessive amount of stuff, like what is that? I mean, we live in kind of an excessive world, I think, where we have so much available, at least for most of us, I think, who are probably, tuning in for this conversation. We're in positions of privilege here, but how do you navigate that and still teach your children that, this isn't the case for everyone, or that, you can't just get everything that your heart desires all the time.
Yeah. And I know that's hard because like, there's nothing more than as parents, what we want to do is like comfort and provide and fix for our kids. But in the long run, you also want to be teaching them to do things on their own, and that you need, like, again, there's value in your stuff. I shared a story with you, and that a family I know, they are definitely a family of means. They easily can replace broken toys for their kids. One of their children, this is a couple of years ago, they went on a big trip on a plane, and one of their children left a device, their iPad, on the plane. And it was a conversation when they got back about, do we replace it right away for her? They were more than capable of doing so, or do we not replace it right away, and kind of have to teach her the value of your things and keeping track of your things, and that you can't just automatically replace something, especially big ticket items like that. And you
Sure.
know, they worked with her they came to a compromise about how that they were gonna pay for it, and they decided to go in halves on it. And she was young, and she worked for it and saved, and that's what they
Wow.
decided to do to replace the item. And you know, it kind of, that piece meant having that new electronic device meant more to her, because she was now invested in it as well. So she kept a better eye on it, because she realized, like, if she lost that, it was going to take some work to be able to replace it and have it again.
Yeah, I think that's a great story, and just really kind of like brings home that message of, even if you can provide pretty much whatever your kids want, is that always the right decision to make? And at some point they're going to be off, doing their own thing, and they're going to learn that harsh lesson that at some point you're going to have to work for all the stuff that shows up in your house. It doesn't just appear there. Like, you have to pay bills, and
and if it breaks, you have to like learn to fix it, or pay for someone to fix it, or pay for a new thing.
Yeah. So
it takes a lot of work.
I mean, I think you're setting kids up for a really tough time in the future if every time something breaks or is lost, like you say, it just reappears. Like, that's that at some point it's not going to be that way. So
and they're not going to pay as much attention to that thing if they know, like, well, they become more flippant about it. Like, okay, so mom will replace Barbie. Like, I don't have to keep an eye on it. You know, they really instill that value in that toy or that special item.
Right. Stephanie, another comment here. We use the phrase, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Wow, Stephanie, putting the hammer down. That's what I want to say instead of suck it up. Okay, that is a little more diplomatic way of saying it. But I think this is, when we talk about toys, it seems like it's this frivolous thing, like, oh, just pick it up, or and
it's just a toy,
right? And we can maybe talk about some, general best practices for actually the physical storage and stuff. But I think what we're getting into is more like what's behind it, and it is a deeper issue. It's not just a toy. It's what you're teaching your kids about stuff, and about
like you're saying, like consuming and materials, and like what your house is going to look like someday, and the value of the things in your life, and are they of use to you? Do they bring you joy?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I have found that depending on ages and stuff, some kids are really good at making those decisions about what they're using. Some kids are tend to be really like, oh no, I love everything. But it really varies, just like it varies, but with adults as well. Some people are more sentimental or get more attached to things than others. But I think, trying to get them involved in those processes, and, maybe doing a periodic culling of the toys is something that's helpful. Like you said, things just accumulate, like over the course of the year. You just are sort of adding to the collection. So at what point are you taking a step back and saying, okay, what's here?
Under sweep.
Yeah. Because I would imagine kids, they also are growing out of, their interests change, and toys that were like their favorite, a month later, they're probably like,
not so much. Yeah, I think it's like your kids' clothes. You make an effort to go through that as they grow out of sizes. I would say do the same with your kids' toys in the toy room. Maybe twice a year going through it and doing like a big sweep, getting rid of the broken pieces, the pieces that are kind of like junky, or the things that they're really not playing with anymore, that's just no longer developmentally appropriate. Or if you'll like be surprised when people have multiples of things. Like I have I have like 5 doll houses, and maybe they're not playing with all those doll houses, and get the kids involved. Okay, you have 5 of these things that are exactly the same, and you don't seem to be playing with all 5 of them. Can we get rid of 3 of them?
Right. What are your favorites? And decisions.
And then even put some toys away and bring them back out at a later date to keep that, like we said earlier, to keep the newness.
Absolutely. We have another fun comment here. Lisa is just giving us a woo. So thank you, Lisa. I love it. Yeah, so this, I think, we've kind of taken a little deeper dive into the organization side of toys. I mean, we can maybe wrap up with just a couple tips about the physical organization. I know that personally, we already talked about giving things a home, and I find that is just one general rule. If you can do that with everything in your house, like have a place where try to foster that habit of, when you're done using something, returning it to that place. And I think also, containers are an important tool here, especially, I mean, with kids' toys, there's this like vast difference in size. You have like the big giant things, and then you have the things that have all these, like the Legos and the blocks and all that. So having kind of an appropriately sized container for the thing, you don't want a giant bin
one.
for all
like
the little teeny pieces. Yeah. And again, that's helping them also in terms of like putting things away. But yeah, I think just providing that structure for them rather than like, oh, it's just a big pile of stuff in the corner of the room. Providing some kind of organizational structure for them to then put things into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Clear bins are great. And as they get older, I'd even suggest, when they start reading, you can label the bins. That's great for them to get so that they know, like, okay, this is our Barbie bin, our Lego bin. When they're younger, clear bins so they can see right into it. But and then have bigger items, or like as when they're younger, open shelves are great. Just a couple things in like a little shelf that they can easily access.
Right.
You don't want things like layered and stacked up, because then they can't see it and they can't access it.
Right. And that's, again, getting at that, like limiting or curating that collection. So it is a reasonable number. So when it's time to like put the toys away, it can be done in, in a reasonable amount of time, right? Because if it takes like a half hour to put stuff away, like nobody
wants that.
You're never going to get them on board.
No one has time for that. And then you just let it grow and grow and grow. And then you feel like just like kind of shop vacuuming the whole thing and just saying, forget it. We'll start over again later.
Right. And I think this is something, all these organizational ideas and stuff, it's really about experimenting and seeing like what works for your household and what works for the people there. So maybe if we have like a take home for parents that are kind of struggling with chaotic toy spaces, maybe try taking some of that stuff out, and you don't have to get rid of it. I mean, it's actually hard to get rid of things now because the donation places are all closed. But maybe you can have some space in your basement, put things in bins, and just get some of that stuff out for now and leave them with their favorites and just see how that works. Are they asking for the other stuff? I mean, I would be interested, but it's all, you really have nothing to lose. If they're like, oh, I really want that truck, you can go get it out of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of play around with that and rotate things through and, get them involved in the process too. And like you said, these are lifelong skills that they're learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's great. So do you have anything we can kind of wrap things up? Do you have any final thoughts about kids' toys?
The one thing I wanted to meant to talk about too is just if you're having those hard conversations with family around gifts and you need other ideas you want to give them other ideas of things to give, you can do things like wish lists. These are things that on Amazon, or just like write out a wish list of things that their interest right now, or things that we could really benefit and use. You can set up college funds for kids. I know it's not as fun, but aunts and uncles might be more inclined, or like friends, to give to the college fund. Experience gifts are always great. Music classes, trips to the zoo, museums. A lot of stuff is happening online, virtually right now too. So like you don't even have, if that's like an issue right now, like there's a lot of virtual stuff going on that you could give experience gifts for. And even if you're having a birthday party for your kid, I had another friend who their son, for his birthday, he asked for gifts for helping hounds. So like dog toys and blankets and collars and dog food. And then they donated everything to Helping Hound for his birthday, instead of getting like, you have these birthday parties for your kids and you invite 20 kids and then you get all these toys. Like this was another way of kind of streamlining how many toys came into the house. And
That is such a great idea.
Yeah, I
And
loved that one. I
I mean,
loved it.
that gets to so many things, and that kind of like it touches on everything. It's reducing
Yeah.
the number that's coming into your house. It's, you're making a charitable organization, and like you're teaching not only your kid, but everyone that comes to the party, like, this isn't just about us and just accumulating more and more
More stuff.
toys, but
Yeah.
like, there are people and animals and whoever that really they could benefit more
Yeah.
by things. And so, yeah, that really is like another great lesson about values that I think
Absolutely. Yeah. I
is
loved it. Yeah.
simultaneously reducing the number of things coming into
Yeah.
your house.
Win.
Right, right.
And it's,
I would imagine the no gifts, like that's probably not
yeah,
taken
I think everybody has the
seriously.
best intentions when they do no gifts. I always appreciate it when I see it on a card, but like, for me personally, and it's hard because you want to respect that boundary, but at the same time, like you also like want to give something. You want
Right,
to
you don't want to come
come.
empty-handed to a party, like
Yeah.
that's something we've all been taught, right? So
Yeah. You always bring something.
yeah.
So
So yeah, I think those are great ideas, and maybe for and this is a strange time where maybe birthday parties and stuff are not happening, or maybe they're happening in the virtual
yeah,
space.
in a different way.
So yeah, so maybe those are actually better alternatives right now, given you can make a donation to this organization for us in lieu of
Yeah.
a gift, or yeah, and experience gifts I think also are always like
Always.
the way to go,
Yes.
rather than just, they've already got so many toys, we don't need another toy, but they are really into this specific activity, or they love
Yeah.
going to this place. I also think, if you are maybe saving for a bigger gift, like maybe a family trip,
Oh, yep.
or maybe a bigger purchase, like they really want an electronic device, and you're again trying to, teach some lessons about
Yeah.
saving, and like it doesn't just happen overnight. Maybe asking family members that really want to give them something, like, we're planning this big gift. Do you want to go in on it with us?
Yeah. And like you said about trips, like, maybe you're planning going someday. Again, we'll be all going on vacations and you're going to take your kids. I remember as a kid, we went to Disney and we asked everybody like the year before our Disney trip for money so that, instead of a gift, like we wanted, would you please donate to our Disney vacation fund? So when my brother and I got down there, we could spend our own money on, the giant giraffe that I bought and had to drive back from Florida in the car with. But, it was fun to have that money so we could enjoy the experience of our vacation.
Right. And I think, rather than just saying, give us cash, like we're,
Here's
this is for a specific purpose, I think that allows, when we ask other people to limit gifts, I think it really helps if you can give them an alternative that they also can be excited about,
Yeah.
So if it's like, oh, you're contributing to our trip, or you're contributing to their music lessons or whatever, that can maybe, help those people who are like, I really want to give them something, and to just say no gifts,
It's hard.
When you talk about grandparents and
Yeah,
stuff.
and like I love giving gifts. Like I'm that person. Like I love to give a good gift. So
Sure.
and so I understand and I appreciate when there is an alternative instead of just kind of willy-nilly bringing whatever to the party or for Christmas or whatever have you. Like I appreciate that, and I want to be part of something as a gift giver. You want to be part of something that is exciting, like you're saying, for the family and for the kids.
Right.
That they'll appreciate and they'll use.
Absolutely. And isn't that better than just like something that's going to be tossed in the toy bin and forgotten about next week?
Yeah.
I think that's great. So, all right. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, and I think I'm hoping that we gave people some good tips.
I hope so.
Home in this whole conversation about toys. It's not always easy, and I think being a parent is super hard, from what I hear. It's like the hardest thing in the world.
A lot to navigate.
So, yeah. So we want to make this a weekly series. We're planning to come back next week, same time, same place, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Live on Facebook. And we would love to get input. We have some ideas about topics to cover in these conversations, but we would love to get input from everyone watching. So if you have specific, issues that you're dealing with, whether related to the certain situation or just in general, again, we're looking at this from kind of a childcare and organizing perspective. So anything around that, hit us up in the comments, and we will be
Please.
sure
Yeah.
to respond to those, and also to cover those in a future discussion here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks everyone for joining us. Again, we'll put some links in the comments below this video for where else you can find us besides here on Facebook. And we will talk to you next week.
Yeah. Thank you so
Cady.
much.
All right.
Bye.